distanced yourself from the whole thing.
Okay, so I think it's time to get started for the day. A little later than I wanted to, but what can you do? I got a new microphone set up, so hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Let me know if the levels are off, and I'll see what I can do about fixing it. So I suppose I'll go. All right, anyway, I haven't streamed in a while. I have been working on the project a little bit off stream, I have to admit, specifically on this Markdown editor, which I'll show here in a little bit. First, I want to take care of two outstanding things that I probably should have done already. One is just all the work on that publish button that we did on stream didn't really amount to anything because ultimately we still have to make sure that only published pages show. We forgot the kind of most crucial part, so that's okay. That should be pretty quick to do. And then this should be very quick to do as well. So I think once we get my Google Analytics code, which I meant to do before the stream. So, but until then, I can just talk a little bit about what I've been doing with the Markdown editor. Really, I kind of just did some CSS stuff to fix the full screen aspect, and then I added things like hotkeys so you could do like Control B or Command B for bold text or something like that. And I'll actually demonstrate that in just a minute here. I just need to get this Google Analytics code quickly. I'll have to figure that out. I'll just do that later. That's not really super interesting anyway. I'm just gonna be making a quick partial and like putting the code in there and then making it use a env variable to set that code. But excuse me. So we'll do the only show published pages from the front facing side. So here we have this example page, and then it looks like another page. I'm going to go ahead and log in, assuming I can remember the password. I haven't used this computer in a little bit, so I guess first order of business would be to get the new code. So we can go to our project here and then pull. That's just my alias for git pull. And then from here, we are going to want to run git checkout, what do I call it? Markdown editor, the Markdown editor branch. So I think we can just do also a git pull here if I've set the upstream, which it looks like I have. And so, oops, I cleared that out, but you can see I have done quite a bit to the Markdown editor. These, I just removed the compiled stuff that we were versioning by accident up till that point. But most of my work, as you can see, has been in the assets.js kind of area here. So I kind of also then split the code up a little bit, and I can go over that at another time if anyone wants to see it or whatnot. But until now, we'll log in, and then just to make this a little easier to see, we'll just call this other page and then maybe other page. I think this was a record that I had accidentally created without just through the database directly and without any validation. So the one thing I do need to do though is npm I to pull in my dependencies quick. I suppose we can try to update. It's probably not going to let us because we don't have a content field right now. So we'll have to redo this. I'll just wait. So there we go. Looks like it installed, and then npm run dev to get our latest build. And so this is just building the kind of latest version from the work that I've been doing on my laptop off stream for a little bit. And it looks like I need to update npm, so I'm gonna go ahead and run that. Let that go in the background. So now if we refresh, there we go. I had to refresh it one more time. So now this is the Markdown editor that I kind of built, I believe, on the most recent stream. And although I haven't been streaming it, I did work a little bit on it. So we have, looks like slight style issue there, but that's okay. We can fix that. So we have, you know, kind of this full screen mode. You can hit the escape key to get out of it. It's pretty simple. If we were to say test some content in it, we could do that. I think here we'll just make this called other page. Other's fine, and maybe other here, other excerpt. 1, 2, 3. So, and then of course, then there's like link functionality too. So you could select a link, and then you can either click on this link button, and so then you can toggle that, or you could also hit, I believe it's in the tooltip to Command K. Yeah. So these are just like a few of the features that I added since the last stream, and I'm happy to kind of dive into how any of those features work if anyone wants to see that. Leave me a message or shout out if that is the case. Otherwise, there's a few other things that I would like to do to this today as well. But first of all, this publish button. So I'm going to go ahead and update this page right now just to give it some a look, I guess, on our. If we go here, oops, that was supposed to be my command key on this keyboard is sticking. I need to fix that, but. So we can see here, but what if we didn't necessarily want, ooh, looks like something's, oh, there's no created at there. I could fix that real quick in SQL Pro. Looks like we are gonna have to do it manually. So we'll go in here to our 406IO database, and then in pages, we're just gonna set these to now. Well, publish that, we can leave. Keyboard's like got a little delay there, it's throwing me off. Not sure what's happening, but anyway, so this is correct. It should say publish here, but what's incorrect is that we're still showing this other page, even though it's not published here. It looks like I had changed the order, I think, so the most recent post will come up first. Anyway, let's go into Sublime, and I think I'm already in the project. Okay, so we can go into, what is it, Home Controller. So then here, make this a little smaller so we can work with it a little easier. I'm going to open up the page model with Command P, and just take a look to see if we have an attribute called, or rather a scope, published, because I think we could get all of the pages that are published pretty easily, but it seems to me that would be a great use of a model scope. So if we go to laravel.com/doc/eloquent, I think. And that reminds me, if anyone knows, I would love to know, is there like a, I should just make one, I suppose, but is there like a Sublime plugin where you can go to the docs, a certain docs page for Laravel easily? Seems like that would be a pretty easy Sublime plugin to make, and I actually, I once made one for Bootstrap's docs called Go To Bootstrap, and now that I think about it, I should just kind of make a Laravel version of that. I think it would be very useful to be able to go to a specific docs page, even with a few aliases. So maybe I'll do that on stream as just kind of a break from this project a little bit. In stream maybe tomorrow. I'm hoping to stream tomorrow and Friday this week. So anyway, let's go back to what we were doing. I was going to look up a model scopes here. Query scopes, here we go. So model scopes just allow you to kind of give something a little more descriptive. Let's see, maybe we'll just search for that, model scope. I think it's a query scope, right? Yeah, so here we go. It's just scope popular, or so this just allows you to do more kind of expressive things like popular or published or things like that. So I think in this case we'll just add a new scope, maybe called published, or wait, scope published. And then let's take a look at the docs here. Yeah, so it just takes a query object or variable, and then here we can do something like query where published at, and actually I think we could just do where not null. So if it's been published, then that should work. And then now we should be able to just do page published order by, and we'll not see our other page here. Great. Okay. Well, that fixes that, and I'm gonna go ahead and just do this. Let's see. I'm gonna do this in the master branch just so it'll go up to the site right now. Let's see, and then I'm just gonna diff here to double check that I didn't do anything extra. Okay, so now I commit this and push it up, and it should get deployed automatically, and I'll be set to go. So we, oops. Publish, let's see, only show published pages, that's what I was looking for. All right, so now that really, I don't know if I mentioned it or not at the beginning, but these are very, the first two things that I had on my list here are really pretty easy. So now we're actually going to do some work on the Markdown editor, and I guess I can leave that in there, say later, and then done for this one. So in terms of the Markdown editor, it's looking pretty good. I think we have, let's get some better Markdown in here. So Laravel docs, I want to find the GitHub, here we go. Let's just take maybe something with some code at the top here. I suppose we can just take another chunk of it too. This one will work. So I just want to take this raw Markdown and make, here we'll take a bunch just to help test the editor a little bit. So this is, for anyone who hasn't seen it before, this whole Markdown editor here is one that we built on stream, on the last stream, and really in its current form there is more work than just that stream in it, because I did do some work off stream afterwards, but like to, just to fix syntax highlighting, and actually we might as well fix this 1 pixel bug here, because I wondered why I had to set it to 41 the other day. So oh, now I need to check out the Markdown editing branch again. So from here, let's see, Markdown editor. Okay, I'll make this a little smaller. And down here, it looks like, I bet if we make this 40 pixels, it should work better. Oh boy. Looks like we have lost all of our styles because one branch, the master, still has the app.js and app.css, so this is showing as deleted. Just since we just did git checkout again, that'll happen. state of our files changed, but okay, here we go. So let's see if we fix that. There we go, and there's no more a 1 pixel issue. On my laptop, it needed to be 41 for some reason, so I'll investigate that at another time. Let's make sure we're at full zoom, I guess. But so I also added, I think, Command Shift F. Yeah, when you're focused in here, we'll toggle full screen. And then this icon, which there's currently no hotkey for. I don't anticipate really. I mean, we'll add one eventually, but so you can hide the preview, and then yeah. At this point, let's paste in this markdown and then just go ahead and update the page. And from here, let's kind of outline what we're going to do on this markdown editor for today. So really one piece of functionality that I would love to have, I'm going to go back here and just kind of outline this because it helps me, is Command Enter. At least at first I can just submit the outer form since I don't have this whole entire form in Vue.js. I can see just providing a callback function for it. But, and it looks like I left a to-do here for my own self, which is check my to-dos from laptop, which what I'm seeing that I have left to do also is an add list button and functionality. And really without typing it all out, I can just explain. When you have like a list item like this, it would be great if, like, let's see if I open a Markdown document, if it does it. So like if you have a list like this, I think I have the Sublime thing, maybe not, but basically I want it to automatically add this dash and space. And eventually we can maybe add some extra spaces for like a super indented list, or you know, just in general to automatically kind of help you make these lists if you're writing a big one, or just seems like a good feature for a markdown editor to have. So first of all, let's do Command plus Enter, and then to do the save. So first, when I think we actually can just use .enter with Vue.js. So this should be relatively easy, because the buttons can kind of work in 2 ways, but really because I think that the editor's hotkeys should be when you're only when you're working on, or rather only when you're focused on the editor. We'll make this a little smaller so we can work on it kind of side by side here, and really we can do npm run watch because we're going to be messing with this Vue component for a bit. And I'll probably have to log back in. Okay. It looks like we did have it zoomed a little bit there. So I'm gonna see, I suppose, if the full screen, yeah, and there it did go. It's hard to see. It's really hard to see because it's super light gray, but the border is missing now from our component, so we'll see. There. I don't know if you guys can even see that on stream, but there's a very, very subtle border there. It makes it look a little nicer. So I guess I'll leave it back to 41 for now. I don't know why it didn't unzoom when I tried to hit it before, but that's okay. So one of the other things that I had to do on stream, or off stream rather too, was if there's a lot of content, I synced up the scrolling of these. And now it doesn't really matter because it's just kind of automatically growing in normal mode, which I think is okay for now. We might like put an option in to limit the height later, but for now, that the scrolling feature is pretty nice. So if you scroll either one, and of course you can see the left one is kind of done scrolling, and the other one has a little bit to go, and it might vary depending on your formatting, of course, but I think this is good enough for now. So from here, really what we want to be able to do is hit Command Enter at this point and then have it essentially update the page. If this whole page was a view component, it might work a little differently, but we should be able to do that pretty easily in our Markdown editor component here. So on the text area, so I already passed it, we can just do key down dot enter equals save on, we'll call it, I'm hesitant to call it control, but so we'll just call it save on enter. And so then really this, we need to make this save on enter method, which will kind of have this split up into 3 kind of JavaScript components. In this case, we want to go to editor. And these are just what Vue calls mixins. It's like a Vue object, but it's just the JavaScript kind of part. And Vue will merge these kind of methods and data and options with our main component. And it's just a nice way to split out, or it seems to me the easiest way to kind of split out code. So this is all kind of editor related code, like for inserting kind of text at the right places and things. And then some more insert here. And then also it deals with dispatching input events properly and rendering to Markdown and kind of editor stuff like that. So really, I think what I actually want was toolbar. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna actually put this method in editor because I believe that this is more of like a main editor. I guess we could, there's no like save button in the toolbar yet, so, and I don't really know that I need one if I have this functionality, but we'll figure it out. So save on enter, and then I am going to look at these toolbar.js real quick to see what we're doing. Oh, and you know what? I lied. Oops. I have this helper method, and I looked up how to do this. It's kind of a bummer, but also I can see why they don't kind of cover it in the main framework. But in Vue, if you wanted to like make a hotkey for a key down kind of, or key up press for something like, and then you wanted to determine whether it was command or control, you actually have to sort of do it in this way, which is like define this method. And I mean, it's because it can vary how you detect this, I guess. And since, I don't know, Vue is meant to run in the browser, it can vary by browser, I suppose. So it's kind of messy how to detect it. And this seemed to be all I needed for at least modern browsers, but which is all I care about in this case. But anyway, I had to make this command or control function to basically wrap my other function, because you can see that it basically returns its own kind of callback and then applies the function that you passed in. So anyway, this just checks it so that I don't have to determine, because technically control is control even on Mac, and command is like considered super, which is a different key, and Vue.js doesn't have any of those by default. So what we can do here is just copy one of these, and now we can change that to save on enter. And so really what we want to do, if it reaches this, basically you hit like command or control enter, but we want to, I think, just return true. No, we do want to trigger the form. I'm just trying to think. I would prefer not to have to trigger the form by navigating to a DOM element. Although that is one way we could do it. It seems like there might be a better way to submit the form. Maybe I'm not thinking about this correctly. I mean, the whole form's not necessarily in Vue.js, so the DOM might be kind of our only option at this point. Seems like there would be a slicker way to do it, though. Let's just Google it. Maybe someone has had this. Well, let's just look up how to do it via the DOM then. That'll get us going at least for today, and we can move on to making some more exciting Markdown editor features, hopefully. So can we use element.form? Let's just do this. We already have this ref for the editor, which is the text area. Let's just see if this comes back as anything here. And our build was successful, so we'll go back. Get rid of that now. Okay. So now if we go and click in here and then hit Command Enter, looks like I need to bring up the console, but got an error somewhere. Error compiling template, huh? We're gonna figure out why that's going on. Interpolation inside attributes. What did I do? Still mad about this if I remove that? Where is it? Exactly mad is the question. It's gonna give us any contextual info. Okay. I'm not really seeing where. Okay, let's just take a look at our template here. It's mad that it says we're interpolating inside the right? It said use. Error compiling template. Well, I'll tell you what, let's seems like it's getting the content in here, so let's just go ahead and put something like AAA in there and save it. Actually, copy that and then okay, so now we're not getting that error. It seems to be it's not escaping things or something like that. Strange, I haven't ran into this error before. interpolation inside attributes has been removed. So let's see, where are we? I'm not really seeing where I'm doing that with without the colon shorthand, but maybe it's maybe it's a marked option. We'll see. We'll test this by maybe just removing some of this. Maybe the Markdown parsing can escape this. We'll see what happens if we update it now. All right, if we paste that back and update it, then we get the error. Okay, so I think the Markdown parsing must just be catching something in there by accident. Let's go ahead and look that up. There should be, this is the one. Thank you, Google. Okay. Sanitize. I think we want sanitize as true here, which I meant to actually do, but in marked. Oh, and maybe it's because I did this change. I hadn't seen this bug before, but I did do this last night, just to be able to kind of render it better. But let's see. Sanitize. Oops. Yeah, so we can just I'll just copy this and then delete all the lines I don't need. Maybe not the most efficient, but that's okay. I'll leave the other renderer stuff going, and then maybe set sanitize to true and see what happens. Not exactly sure. Well, I guess I'll add something to the to-do list today, and we'll look at that in a bit. Let's finish this command enter feature, and then maybe we'll look at that. Fix escaping. I'm assuming it's some sort of escaping issue. Sometimes that happens. We'll see how it's coming out of marked and what's going on there. And then, sorry, what I wanted to paste here was the thing that causes it. And I haven't exactly narrowed it down, but I can do that in a bit. Oops. I'll just go back over the top here and put like a little divider so I know. Okay, let's go back to here and then let's go ahead and just remove that and see. It doesn't like compiling some stuff like this for some reason. I think it's this, at least this chunk. Let's test that while we're on the topic. And indeed it was. So I'm gonna go ahead and just remove all this stuff so that we can really tell. Okay. So now, let's get back to this command enter business. So if we hit command enter, all right. Oops, I did call this save on control, didn't I? Even after I was saying it. Doesn't make sense because it might be command, you never know. I mean, it is in this case, but save on enter. Looks like I did that in here. So now we can test her out. Excellent. So that does give us the form method. That's actually pretty awesome. Great. So that one should work now if we, I think, is it just submit? Submit form JavaScript. Just regular JavaScript is what I want. Yeah, I think it's just submit. So that's great. What we can do now is in our toolbar.js, and really, even though there's no toolbar option for this, I'm gonna actually put it up here with this full screen shortcut method. Anyway, there's no toolbar option for this. However, it's still needed to make use of this command or control kind of wrapper function. Because remember, this is a view method, but then we're wrapping it in this function, like callback style, basically. And that's just so that I can automate the checking of whether it's command or control. So in this case, we just want to do this refs editor form, and this is just the JavaScript form object, since our editor is still a text area and not like a div or something like from CodeMirror or the Ace editor would give. And then we can just submit. I think that really should do it. So let's go ahead and test that now. And I like this kind of command enter submit. They have it on like GitHub if you create an issue and you hit command enter. And there it goes. We updated the page successfully. That's actually pretty awesome. So now I'm gonna go ahead and mark this as done. But real quick, before we move on, I'm gonna commit that now. Added command enter to submit parent form. Since this kind of component is meant to be used within the context of an outer form, it should kind of work either way. So I think that's fine for now. We're in the Markdown editor branch, okay? And now we'll fix this escaping issue. Let's go ahead and copy this line here. And when we go back to here, I'll paste this, and then we can test out our command enter again, and there it goes. And so it looks like, I wonder what it is. Is it I bet it's this. I would guess that it's this. Right? Because this is a Vue.js template thing. So let's see. Yep. Okay. So how do we solve that? I actually don't know, as I've never ran into that before. So I'm just going to do a little Google search, because we're using VHTML. Ignore view tags, because we don't. Yeah, is there a way? Because I wouldn't expect the Markdown library to just know that it needs to sanitize those Vue.js tags either. So people are pointing to this sanitize HTML npm package. So there's got to be a way to do this simpler, right? What if we type in sanitize vhtml? I mean, there was that one issue, but I mean, I do want to price sanitize this anyway. Well, I might want to do some sort of other escaping. Can we... I have to look this up just to get the method signature, but I think we can get like something like JavaScript replace. Right? Can't we just do our own escaping real quick? Can we just... Okay. So I think that should help us. We'll figure out. Looks like I don't think this did anything, to be honest, so we'll get rid of that. And we should go up here to our computed output property. And then we can, I think, do something like this. Just do replace this with, maybe we'll kick this onto a new line, but we can replace this with, can't we just do the escaped version? And then same thing with, and we can copy that, and then we'll want to do this with the closing tags too. We'll see if that fixes it here. And I realized that using vhtml to output HTML is not, you know, it isn't always necessarily safe, but in this case, like, it's a Markdown editor component, so if someone's pasting that in and you're not sanitizing it on the back end or whatnot too, then it's kind of your problem, I suppose. It's meant to be used kind of in an admin area anyway at this point. So anyway, I'm gonna remove, or rather move this back over so we can take a look at our component, make sure it's refreshed. And I'm gonna go ahead and just grab the original line. And oops, I need to see in the console. No, it's still having a problem. Now, copy this. Yeah. Okay. So clearly our replace is not working at all. Maybe it needs to happen in a different spot. You know, out of curiosity here, I'm gonna actually just take these out and do something like start and. You know, and maybe I just need a console log this. Maybe it already is escaping them, and that's the problem. Because then Vue's trying to parse them. I'm not exactly sure, so this should at least help us figure that one out. And I might still have to console log it, but it's okay. Okay. Nope. I think the problem is that we're trying to run that on the whole marked instance, which I thought would return a string, but clearly it does not. So I'm just gonna split these onto their own lines since this one's kind of long. These are the marked options, and maybe this is why. We should also try sanitize true. And then I'm actually just gonna try this because maybe I didn't realize that this was probably the marked config from before, but build successful. Okay. Nope, that does not fix it. That's okay. So of course we're still going to get a view error, I suppose. What I need to do, supposed to really test this out, is remove this kind of VHTML. And really, but to make sure that it gets called, I suppose, I'll just go ahead and do something like undo this stuff. And then I'm just gonna do some temporary stuff here. And then we want to do something like console.log m. You know, it's definitely not ideal to do this in computer property, but for the fact of just getting this kind of working here, let's fix this a little. So see, it replaces them to start and end here. Interesting. So what happens if we put in start here and save? Then it's no problem. So it's like it's not replacing the input. Just out of curiosity, what happens? This is what I want to see. What happens if we just do this input again and marked? Oops, of course, forgot a comma. Every damn time. So it has the start there still. Let's see. It doesn't seem like it escapes anything. I don't understand why it wouldn't. Yeah, and see, this just returns a string, right? missing something about how I should be escaping this? We'll see. Oh, maybe I needed double quotes. Maybe that will fix it. M.replace these with just going to refresh to clear my console here. So then, oops, I need to go back to the correct content here that broke it before and actually save that. My bad. So it's still just mad about this VHTML, right? Like I'm pretty positive it's not going to break if we do this. Okay. Clearly somewhere else it's having the problem. This is strange. I'll figure out what's happening here, but at the moment, you know. Let's get rid of all these tabs. Keep that one. Oh, did I accidentally make a typo in here? Maybe. I wonder if this needs to be escaped. Shit, I better remove them both to really test this. So strange. I definitely want to be able to document anything, and especially Laravel stuff with this, so definitely gonna have to figure out why that's going on. But, I mean, at the moment, interpolation inside attributes. Doesn't help us. All right. Yeah, see, I think it might be this input. I'm gonna just undo the stuff that I was messing up here and try to figure out what exactly is causing this. Go back, because it clearly just messing with the input and replacing it doesn't fix anything. So let's go ahead and just turn that back. Now I assume we get the error. Okay, let's just take out some parts of the template here. Again, just only to see what might be causing this. Let's take this out and I feel like we should take this out as well. Still the problem, okay. toolbar up here. Let's see. Of course, now it's going to be mad that I can't find a ref. Let's see. Hopefully I'm making a silly mistake, but so basically, a little stumped at the moment. Let's go ahead and just take off all these mixins. I don't think I'll have an issue with this. And I'm actually gonna take just a break for a second, so I'll be right back and figure out if I'm gonna grab some water and then. Okay, let's try to fix this escaping issue that we've got going on, that we've been working to fix, because I think what's happening is that for some reason or another, it's still trying to interpolate that. And why, I don't exactly know, but let's refresh this page. Okay. Oh yeah. So I screwed this up by editing this. Now, though, with all of that JS kind of commented out, I should be able to actually take out real big chunks of the template without it really mattering. So let's go ahead and just really, let's just delete this for a sec. And we'll fix the... So it's still mad about that, huh? Must be missing something super obvious. I mean, now it's just mad about this. That's okay. Right, I mean, in theory, now we've taken everything out of the template. Nothing should break, but... See, something weird's happening. Because, I mean, this is just an absolute... Is it mad about this somehow? Shouldn't be. Okay, now I'm really stumped. Anyway, anyone have an idea about how to fix this? Because, I mean, this is... Seems like it's like not loading the latest, you know? Because we don't even have... wait a second. Is this in our create.blade, or this is edit.blade file? Is it mad about this? Do we need... Oh man. See, this is probably something... Now I just broke everything. Okay, let's go ahead and undo this. Something strange is going on here. Okay. Now at least we're back to where we were. So it's just this, right? That's the problem. So it seems to me, maybe we need to escape this. Just out of curiosity, what happens if we like string replace this on this edit page? It's gonna be ugly, but just to try to figure out what's going on here, we can do something like string replace. Our search will be something like, I think it's just this opening caret, and then replace with test. And we gotta add one more closing parenthesis here. C, okay. So it's basically that we're trying to bind that value with an attribute. So it thinks it's trying to interpolate that. But we need to bind it as a string somehow. Vue.js prop with double curlies. that makes sense why nothing was happening when I was just deleting stuff in and out of our template there. So I don't really want to string replace it and do it on the PHP side here. I think the Markdown editor should be smart enough to figure this out itself, but I might have to. So we'll see. HTML for prop. I'm trying to think of what to Google to like. Yeah, we'll see. This is similar. Let's see. Is there a way to use VHTML to kind of do the escaping? Oh, I guess it doesn't do any escaping, huh? So I suppose I need to do this on the PHP side. Or rather, that's the easiest way to go about doing it. So, escape. Let's see, what we want to do, escape. I'm trying to think, will add slashes do this, but will it screw up the content? Escape, curly, braces, PHP. There should be a way. We're getting into some old PHP here, oh boy, 2010. I mean, I just am not sure because it's trying to pass this as a string, right? But it's trying to interpolate that string. I mean, it really does seem like this value should work. Like we're binding that. Is it because it's called value? Maybe we'll call that content. And then here in editor.js, I think we have value, name, and content. I don't know if that seems like view would override the base HTML stuff, but content. So we'll see. And so now I think it's mad that we're still trying to bind it. Okay. All right. Well, not, I guess, the most ideal of solutions. But what we could do is something like this. Just do something like content there, and then in our page controller, and edit. So with page, and then maybe we have something like with content. Or, tell you what, I don't like that as much as like making this a little more automatic. So, oops, I just deleted a bunch of lines by accident. So we're gonna put this back, and instead of page get original content, we're gonna say escaped content. So this is gonna be like the original, but not the parsed or anything like that. And I think, so now in our page model, we can just do, because we have this parsed down version for displaying it, we can do something like function get, what do we call it, escaped content attribute. And the get and attribute kind of prefix and suffix just tell Laravel this is kind of an accessor method. So we can return our this get original content. And really, let's just try a simple thing, a string replace and we'll just escape those and see what kind of comes through. You know, just this is kind of a rudimentary way to do it at this point, but that's okay. Just trying to kind of fix this bug, and I can think about it some more. Conal C3, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. You're trying to learn how local storage works, and it's not working whatsoever, huh? What are you using to access local storage? Just pure JavaScript, or using some sort of Vue or Angular library? I haven't got quite into local storage stuff yet. I was gonna mess with a little bit of it with this editor eventually. For something maybe like an autosave feature in local storage or something like that. But where was I here? We are. I think this now hopefully will work actually. And I have some other sort of view problem here. It's our other. Conal C3, what don't you understand about localhost? Or rather, local storage, sorry. It's, let me know if I can answer any questions for you. Certainly don't pretend to be an expert on local storage, but I've used it in a couple of projects before. I guess another question would be, what type of thing are you trying to do with it? Just save a value and get a value, or? Oh, I think I'm still trying to bind the content here with this colon. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we fixed it, but now we have this kind of crappy escaped version in here. So I'm not exactly sure what to do with that at the time being. I think we can explore some other options. I'd really like to get this fixed because this is something that I expect to be using quite a bit. And I mean, maybe it's because it's in this parenthesis. Is that why it's mad about it? Let's just try. Let's go to our page object here. And just return this get original content. And then see, okay, so yes, it causes a problem here, but let's see if something like this causes a problem. Yeah, and indeed it does, right? Let's just keep that as our test text for now. And CodeMouse C3, I'm happy to, like I said, man, I'm happy to help you with any questions you have. If you post them, I can take a little hiatus and look into that local storage issue for you, or you can tweet it at me if you want, at 406IO on Twitter. I need to get around to updating the stream description with like Twitter links and vice versa, but I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. So I was kind of setting up this new stream microphone and other stuff. So, all right. Well, this isn't ideal because I don't want slashes really added with this. So, but maybe does PHP care about this? Seems like it does in terms of like new line characters and stuff, but no, it still happens. I'm just trying to find some more kind of about this issue. Someone has to have had this issue before. I mean, I just want to pass this stuff in as a big string. Maybe string cast. Does it even matter in JavaScript? Can you cast something to a string? I guess maybe I can try that. First of all, I mean, we can just return this get original content raw. So I actually want to call this something else because really, like I said, I don't want to do this escaping in PHP. If at all possible, I'd love to just pass this into the view component. So I'm just going to make this raw content because that really is probably better than doing get original in the view directly. So raw content, and then I still need to fix the issue with the Markdown editor. However, can we bind it? So can we do something like bind content to a string that's like this stuff dot to string? I mean, seems a little jank, but hey, if it fixes my issue, that'd be great. And it does. Oh my gosh. Awesome. See? Missing something simple, I suppose. That does seem a little jank, but we're forcing JavaScript here to, and maybe if I bring this up, we can see it. I guess maybe I could do this on a different line or whatever, but I think it's fine for now. So basically, we've got this blade, and I know it's confusing because it uses the same thing as Vue.js, right? But we have the blade directive here that's going to output a string, but Vue.js itself was trying to parse the string when I was just passing in via content. And since the string itself contained like 2 characters like this, it was thinking that we were doing a view template tag and then trying to interpolate inside that tag with this old method, which view doesn't allow because that just makes your application hard to reason about. So yeah, turns out to fix that, we need to just force this whole thing to be a true string via JavaScript, right? Because before I was trying to use the colon to bind the value of content to whatever this is, but it looks like we just needed to force it to a string in this case because view was kind of parsing it and seeing it as like, hey, there's an object with a method in here and stuff. So yeah, now I think if we bind that, and we'll triple check this just because I want to make sure this bug is fixed once and for all. And to triple check it, let's go with this little nastier line that was like from the Laravel doc somewhere, and I think this is probably for the CMS they use or whatever it is. Because there's like these tip markers, and clearly it's Laravel's parsing this a little bit. So, and it appears to be broken. So I've broken something. It's okay. Maybe I did need to remove. Oh yeah. So that's why we were trying to do this, and it binds the real value of this, but what we want to do is use the regular version of it and then just make sure that we JavaScript it to string with the main JavaScript method. So, okay. I guess turns out I lied about all of this because it's not working now. That's a bummer. Let's go back to our other test string then. Test. So, okay. Maybe the template was somehow cached or something. Well, I think now there's got to be a way to figure out what's going on with this. So I thought this was working. It's frustrating, but now still having the same kind of issue. Let's just reset this. Oops, I need to save it. It's probably not gonna work well for me here. Cannot read properties set options of undefined, so unexpected token. Maybe instead of toString, we can wrap the whole thing. There we go. Does it really work? Okay. Even dumber simple solution, it would appear. I'm not gonna count my eggs before they hatch this time, though. So we'll see what happens when I paste this in. Excellent. Well, sort of excellent, I guess. It's not necessarily showing this here. Oh no, it shouldn't, because it's gonna go to them. That's part of the URL thing, so It's good, I think. So tester. Then we save, reload. Yeah, great. Okay. Well, basically the same idea as the toString fix that I just made, but we're binding the content we're binding it to the value of this, and so it was trying to parse this. What came out was like test, like this code, and then it was still trying to parse that because it's binding to the value of whatever the internal thing according to Vue.js evaluates to. But if you wrap it all in a single quote here, it's forced to evaluate the whole entire thing to a string. So I wonder, so this should actually add an additional quote, right? Okay, great. It did. That's what I expected. So then, yeah, if we bind it to this string though, then we'll be better off. So we can update the page. Okay. I mean, for the initial fix of this stuff, it seems kind of jank because we probably have to remember to do this elsewhere. But it also depends on what you're doing here and what kind of content you have inside of it. Because I think, if you were to do a blade expression like this that returns a string, you're going to have to do that kind of wrap it in quotes thing anyway if you want it to be escaped. Unless you can verify that it's not going to have that stuff in there. So, real quick, I'm going to copy this over to our create.blade.php page. I guess I didn't mention this at the beginning of the stream, but one of the other things that I did off stream was that I realized, hey, this Markdown editor actually works pretty well so far. So I just ripped out simple MDE and the other Markdown editor, which is the other Markdown editor I was using. So it looks like this is just old content. That's great. Just take out this default and it's almost on one line. Okay. So now that should fix it. Oops, keyboard kind of derped there. Just gonna run the test real quick here. And then PHP unit. I always forget it's not ARP test because I have that command alias in another project. So, all right, now I'm gonna do a git diff just to remember what we did here. Great. So fixed content escaping string issue. I think that's good. So now that's great. We kind of came across this secondary issue. This fix escaping issue is done. Now let's get on to the list button and functionality. So we'll see how to add a new button to this Markdown editor and everything else. So, and right now, I will say this may not be always, or it may be easier to add this in the future. I was thinking I will probably open source this. I mean, it already is open source, but I will open source this editor as a standalone Vue component, and I'll probably do that on stream and maybe even start working on it tomorrow. So let's go ahead and add a quick list button, and then that will maybe do it for today's stream. We'll see how long that takes us to do. So if I go to, I'm going to close all these files right now, just to except for that one. And if we go to our toolbar.js file, let's just go ahead and start adding some code in here, because we know we're going to have a button for it and a method that button needs to call. So just out of curiosity, let's just go with TinyMCE is what WordPress uses. And I've been going off of their keyboard shortcuts just because it's a very common editor and a lot of them make sense. So let's see, insert link. Is there a list? Oh, well, maybe they don't have one. Well, let's take a look at simple MDE then and see, because I believe they had a list. So yeah, Command L, that's a pretty bad hotkey in my opinion, because it should bring you up to your browser. What does Command Alt L do? Brings up downloads. Command Shift L. All right, maybe we'll go with that one. Command Shift L. But what do we want to do? We want maybe unordered list first. We'll just do this, and then so Command or Control. And this is just our wrapper function to check whether one of those is pressed. And then I'll put that trailing comma on there just because. So this insert, and this method just inserts something. Basically, I should call this wrap selection or something like that, but maybe I'll change the name of that eventually. But this just inserts a starting and ending set of characters around your selection or where your cursor is in the text area. So really, I think what we want is probably something like dash space and then nothing really afterwards. So we'll go ahead and do that and see what happens. And so to enable this, or really we need to add, if we go to our Markdown, this is in Resources, Assets, JS Components, Markdown Editor for now. So if we look at our kind of editor here, it looks like, let's just put this next to the link button. So I'm going to copy that. We'll make this a little bigger for now. This HTML is pretty long, but I think that's okay for the time being. Once we have this in here, we're not going to really edit it too much. And really, I haven't gone through yet and done anything like extracted all these Tailwind CSS classes into their own kind of utilities and things. And I will probably do that at some point after I start making this into a standalone Vue project, or maybe just before, I guess. But that kind of cleanup, I'll do a little bit on stream too, but not today. So we want to unordered list. And so what do we want to make this super key, which is like, this is gonna display some command or control, and then maybe super key plus K plus shift, we said, plus K. So I think that should work, and I'm just using the new version of Font Awesome, and so they have this view wrapper to like easily inject SVG components. It's actually pretty slick because you can use, although I'm not doing it just yet, I will be soon once I get the icon set up, but you can use just the ones that you need via like just the components and importing just the ones you need. So it's a pretty cool way to have like kind of lightweight, just the icons that you need. Where was I though? So, and it's not Shift K, we were gonna do Command Shift L. And maybe, you know, that's fine. We might change the hotkeys up a little bit later, but so the icon, maybe we'll just do list and see if that works. We'll look at the Font Awesome icons in a second. And then, so now we've basically, just to recap, we've added a button, which on click, it's going to just insert, this is wrong, we're gonna insert a space dash for our unordered list, and then nothing on the end. And so that's simple enough. And then we set up the method to be used for the hotkey, but we just need to do this, something like this. Key down dot shift dot, and then I wanted L, and I don't know what that one is, so we can go to something like key codes. I think, yeah, this website's got a pretty good, easy to read table. So L 76. Guess I could have figured that one out from K, but that's okay. Forgot that was K. 76. So this basically will say when the shift key plus L is down, and then we need to change this to whatchamacallit, our unordered list, right? That was what we called it back here in toolbar.js. And so then the command then of course comes from this wrapper method. So shift L, and then this wrapper kind of callback only calls the method if command or control are pushed. And granted, I haven't really tested this on Windows yet, so it will be interesting to test that, but I'll do that soon enough just to see. So now let's go ahead and look at our Markdown editor, and we can see here, hopefully, that it adds a list item. So, and we might want to do something like add, here's the question. So if we do something list item, and then I'm going to try the shortcut here, Command Shift L. So that works out pretty well. It looks like we need to fix the selection a little bit, but maybe I'll do that on another stream. I'm getting kind of hungry, so I'm going to probably end today's stream. Thank you everybody for coming by, and I will be streaming tomorrow. Probably about, I don't know, we'll see. I might stream in the morning tomorrow. I'll see how that goes. So thanks everyone, and have a nice evening.